Well, Henry, again, I've visited your center so many times, and I've always appreciated the forum you give me to be very frank. Whenever I've spoken my mind when I'm at your center, when I'm here, and I benefit from you speaking your mind, very honestly, defending, your system where you believe it needs defending. I do the same. This is really my message. You only get one chance, Henry, to make a second impression, not a first impression, but you only get one chance to make a second impression. Yeah. And China and America, they really need to make a second impression on each other right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. We both need to give each other a new look, a second look. And I think that will only happen though, if we each do something a little hard, that people say, wow, that was hard for China to do. Wow, that was hard for America to do. Okay. But I think if we can both we need to get each other's attention again. Mm-hmm. And it's very important. I give this as friendly advice. You don't want to be seen as a bully. Okay. China does not want to be seen as a bully to Australia or to other countries. Nobody likes a bully. And you know how I know that, Henry? Because nobody liked America when it was a bully. Okay. After the Cold War, we thought we were the hyperpower. Okay. And we could go anywhere and tell everyone to do anything. And when that happened, the world coalesced against us. Okay. Because they thought we were kind of a big bully. And I think China's diplomats need to keep that in mind. Nobody likes a bully. Okay. What people really respond to is when they see you do something hard. We need to do that. China needs to do that. And then we can both have a second impression.
You're right. I mean, China, hasn't really sent any soldiers anywhere, but of course, there's a way to be improved. I mean, also has a better way to tell that stories. Absolutely. Exactly. I think U.S. has also realized that. I'm also glad to see that the Secretary Blinken said that the U.S. now is no longer aimed at topple any government now. They are trying to be more, peaceful coexistence. So China and U.S. learning each other. I mean, they will probably maintain global stability.
Well, I think what happened in Alaska, Henry, probably was a necessary throat clearing for both sides. Okay, yes. Both sides kind of need to clear their throat. And now I really hope, as Joe Biden is a good man. He's a stable president. He's not like Trump. He's a partner for serious dialogue, and I'm still hopeful now that both sides have kind of gotten everything off their chest. That they can sit down and have the kind of dialogue that you and I are having, honest, frank, and respectful, but also where we actually agree to do something, some hard things, and that can actually bring the relationship where it needs to be.
But you're right. I mean, we need to clear our chest, and then we can really calm down and talk about good stuff. And so it's great that we have almost 800,000 viewers online, actually, and through several channels. We have quite a few media, actually, questions from China's local media. First, we have China Radio International, and so maybe we'll take a bit of your extra time. And so they said last year you wrote an open letter to the then U.S. President Donald Trump, stressed the need for more planned response to fight against the pandemic and offer several suggestions of your own. So if you're having an interview with Biden or you are talking to President Biden again, what do you think about the new proposal we can have for the world and also for U.S. to contain this pandemic?
Well, it's a very, very good and important question. I feel good about where America is right now, Henry. I feel like with 2 million people being vaccinated a day now, basically, that by June, July, we will be over the worst of this. Mm-hmm. But we do need, going forward, to have an understanding, a global understanding of how to prevent the next pandemic. This pandemic, SARS-CoV-1 and SARS-CoV-2, they both emerge in the interface between urbanization and wilderness areas. Basically, these are viruses jumping from animals in the wild through markets into urban areas. And as we expand into urban areas through our development, as China expands into wilderness areas through its development, as we expand, as Brazil deforests, we have to have a global discussion, Henry, about the interface between urbanization, deforestation, wilderness, and wild animals. And so we are not transporting viruses that really evolved in the wilderness, okay, through deforestation and urbanization into human settlement areas, and then in the globalization system going everywhere. So I know China is concerned about this. It's actually taken steps to ban wet markets and the sale of certain wild animals. And I think it's very important we sit down together, try to understand where the coronavirus emerged, where Ebola emerged, and in this interface between wilderness, wild animals, and urbanization, and that we make sure globally, we have a global regime that can really stop this kind of transmission.
President Biden is coming back to WHO, and after President Xi pledged $2 billion in supporting the COVID-19 fighting, President Biden pledged $2 billion also at the G7 summit. So we see the two leaders really, concerning this global situation, and then we should really strengthen the global dialogue on that. I have another question from China Daily, and so he was basically saying, what do you think of the role that China can play on climate change? Of course, President Biden is having his Earth Summit, and also, what about we having a global, major countries group of discussing this, just like we had the, G20 fighting financial crisis. We really got to act together and stabilize the world economy. So now the U.S. is now really the one of the leaders on this, actually probably the most important country, and China is one, and the U.S. are two largest emitters of the carbon. And probably we should have a closer collaboration mechanism rather than just also the climate change Paris Accord, because President Xi has already pledged very concrete objectives. And we have a sandstorm in Beijing again. We really feel the pressure of that. We can do more on climate change.
The most important thing that the government of China can do, and the most important thing the government of America can do, and the most important thing the government of Germany can do, is with every clean technology, let's use solar panels, for instance, just take one. The greatest contribution the government of China can do is to mandate, I'm making this up, but you'll get the point, mandate that every building in China has to have some solar power, okay? Because the minute China does that, the price of solar panels will go down. You will drive the price of manufacturing solar panels down so a villager in Africa can have them, okay? So same in America, like let's say wind power. Offshore wind in the ocean is much more expensive than onshore wind, okay? Our job in America, the US government, is to subsidize offshore wind, okay? So we bring the price down so everyone in the world can use it. And then we bring our standards up. So the role of government is bring the price down, but then gradually bring the standards up. So if China can cut in half, the Chinese government, by mandating that everyone has to have solar panels, you cut the price in half, and then you say every year, every house has to add one solar panel, okay? Then you bring the price down and you bring the standards up. That's how we get scale. So I'm not against Paris Agreement, U.S.-China dialogue, but I'm actually very focused, Henry, on the public-private partnership that creates scale. And governments, your government, my government, the German government, their job is to drive the price down so every villager in China can afford solar or wind, and then every year raise the standard so every year they're required to add a little more. That's how we change the climate.
Great idea. Actually, you talk about that. I think the public-private partnership is really important because China is actually developing very fast on that. You know, the largest solar producers now in the world, the largest windmill producer in the world, and also clean car. You know, clean energy car now, the largest producer in the world now.
But China is also the largest coal, user in the world.
That's right.
And it wants to get off coal, but the way to do that is, again, by just using the government's balance sheet to really make these clean technologies more and more efficient and available, and then raising standards. If China's government does that, that will be a gift to the whole world, Henry.
Yeah, I think China is really working towards that objective.
And people want clean air in their cities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right. Also, the buildings for energy saving. It's enormous technology innovation there. That's why President Biden said there's trillions of new opportunities ahead. So if both China and US work together on that, we probably can provide the infrastructure of the climate change for the world with EU and many other countries. That's really great.
That would be a great gift to the world.
Yeah. We have another question from Guancha, media from Shanghai, actually. He was asking that the most recent shuttle diplomacy for Foreign Minister Wang Yi to the Middle East has been under spotlight. Apart from he meets Saudi Arabia, Iran, and also invited the Palestinian and Israel to hold a direct dialogue with China. So he said, Mr. Friedman, you had long followed the Israel-Palestinian peace process. How do you see the current situation in the Middle East and the role played by China and the US probably?
It's a very good question. There would not have been a nuclear agreement with Iran without China's help. China and Russia and the European Union in helping us get a nuclear agreement. President Trump unwisely, in my view, tore up that agreement. But he tore it up in part because Iran was being a bad actor in the region. I would argue, a source of instability, not for Israel, but for Lebanon, for Iraq, for Syria. And I hope, as China gets more involved in the region, that it will do so with an eye to regional stability, not just counterbalancing America, okay? So when China signs a deal with Iran, to buy Iranian oil, is it using its leverage to get Iran back into the nuclear deal? Or is it using its leverage to counterbalance America? This is very, very important because China has an interest in stability in the region. Iran becoming a nuclear power is not good for China. China has never wanted to see nuclear proliferation. That's why it supported the Iran nuclear deal. And so I hope that if China is getting more involved in the Middle East, it will be on the side of making the region more stable, not by making it easy for Iran not to be in the nuclear deal, but by getting Iran back into the nuclear deal. Again, in fairness to China, it was America, it was Trump that tore up the nuclear deal, not China. But I think China can be a very important source of leverage for helping us get back to the nuclear deal. And I hope it uses its power and energy in that direction.
Great. Yeah, right, absolutely right. China, US should work together on probably for the Middle East, and then play a bit more active role, and including probably issues like North Korea and peace development as well. Absolutely. Probably I have a last question for you. From back to the globalization where we started. It's a question from China News Agency, basically saying, consider the impact of a pandemic, people of different countries being isolated from each other, and many company organizations are stuck in the, in this kind of a stagnance now. And do you think it will, really slow down the globalization, or you think globalization will have a new start after post-COVID? So let's come back to the globalization. Yes.
Very good question. Good place to end. Henry, I think we are on the verge of an incredible explosion of globalization. Because what the pandemic has done, before the pandemic, McKinsey estimated about 20% of American companies had digitized, their business. After the pandemic, so many more companies have digitized their business. Look what CCG has done. You've digitized your forums, okay? Now, you and I are acting globally as individuals.
Yes.
More easily, more cheaply, thanks to a Chinese company, Zoom, more efficiently than ever. It's not as good, Henry, as when I'm in your auditorium.
Yeah.
About 90% is good.
That's right.
And when I'm in your auditorium, we just have the people in the auditorium. Now we have 800,000 people around China. So you see that the fact that the pandemic has forced us to digitize so many things is also going to allow us to globalize in so many more ways. Telemedicine, teleeducation, telebusiness. And what will come out of this is a new hybrid. So next time you and I meet, maybe it'll be on Zoom, or maybe it'll be in your office in Beijing, or maybe it'll be in your office in Beijing with Zoom. Yes. Okay. So I think when this is over, we will have so many more ways to globalize, but the world is going to continue going from size large to size small, to size medium to size small. Okay. Thanks to the pandemic, it's going to happen faster than ever.
Yeah, probably the pandemic actually brings people closer in terms of technology.
I have done more webinars that have reached more people in China this year of the pandemic than in the previous 30 years. Okay.
Yes. So we see some positive side of that. I'm glad to see at the Alaska meeting, both U.S. and Chinese government officials talking about probably visas or relax and also open the traffic. So we hope that we can invite you to give a talk again at the CCG. And so for tonight, and we have almost 900,000. We'll keep increasing the viewers. And I think that the dialogue we had is really very frank, but very constructive and also meaningful, stimulating. And so that we can really provide this kind of a better narrative, a more constructive dialogue, and also, seek the common grounds and minimize the differences. And I'm sure China and the U.S. being the two largest economy, we have the more responsibility to work together, for climate change or pandemic or the developing countries' debt issues and so many things. So it's absolutely correct. And
well, Henry, I have great respect for the fact that you invite me. You let me say whatever I want. I say whatever I want. I say I know hard things for some, Chinese officials to hear, but I think it's said out of respect and a desire to see the relationship get on a healthier track. And I appreciate your giving me this opportunity to reach your audience and to reach so many friends and readers in China. And I look forward to doing it again, but I really, I respect and appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Tom, for your time to spend with us. Thank you very much. We hope to see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.